So if you don't know me, my name's Sabrina Ramonov. I teach AI for free to millions of people, and Friday nights I have an AI live stream. We stream to TikTok, Instagram, Twitch, and YouTube, and used to stream to Substack as well. And the topic for today is going to be building a $2 million offer with AI. And I pulled up this thing called a business model canvas, which I haven't looked at in over a decade. But it's pretty cool because the template came with the vibe board. So I'm going to be using it today. Okay, cool. Hi, everybody. My name's Sabrina Ramonov. Again, I teach AI to millions of people for free. I previously built and sold an AI company for millions of dollars. And today's going to be really fun. I'm going to talk about how to use AI to build a $2 million offer. And we're going to do all of the math together. I'm going to walk you through everything and explain how this adds up to 2 million, explain exactly how I would go about bringing this offer to life, selling this offer, and retaining customers for this offer. And it was funny enough inspired by apparently a woman named Karen who said that I should charge for my private school community. And I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to charge for a community. But I went through the thought process of, well, what if I did charge for a community? Like, what would the community be focused on? What would I teach? How much would I charge? How many people could I realistically get? And in terms of the AI market, like what are people craving for? Like they want to pay for, but it doesn't exist today. And so this video or live stream is for you, especially if you have like even a semi-technical background or a technical background, because you're going to be able to run with this idea and like ramp up revenue very quickly. So yeah, let's get started. So let me share what the idea is. Okay, and for those of you who are not familiar with it, this is called a business model canvas. I think it was Steve Blank maybe or someone else who invented this, but it came as a template in my vibe board. So we're gonna use it tonight. It looks really fun. And we're just gonna fill out the boxes one by one. And I might go off to the side to like expand on a point that I'm trying to make. Okay, so you're probably wondering, well, what offer am I gonna focus on today? I like things that are easy, okay? Easy business models. So many of you probably know that I have a SaaS app. I don't consider SaaS to be easy. In fact, building really good products usually takes capital investment to hire technical people. It takes a long time to figure out product market fits, to make your product good enough that people want to stay month over month. And honestly, people don't value software the same as they value like other things like physical products or interactions with people or services done by other people. So when I talk about easy, even though I am largely against selling courses and communities, honestly, information products are the easiest that I can think of to get started in if you have absolutely zero background in business and have no idea what you want to do. But I'm not a big fan of just like selling one-time courses. I think that's really tough to scale to large numbers. And so we're going to talk about building a paid AI community. So if you're familiar with Skool, you kind of already have a sense of that. There's many other community platforms as well, Circle, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, but there's like a bunch of AI communities. It's like, what is the exact thing that I would be solving? Like, why would people want to join this particular community? Okay, so I took a look at the AI market, and obviously thousands of people message me like on a regular basis telling me, this is my problem, I'm stuck with this. And so I have like a lot of data points for what people are struggling with right now, what people are willing to pay for, and honestly unmet needs, like where are there huge gaps? So the gap that I personally see is around vibe coding. And there's a couple of factors that make this a really, really interesting market. Number one is timing. So this is supposed to be a clock. Kind of looks like Clementine, but that's okay. So number one is market timing. Number two is the amount of money going into this space. But I don't care about that as much since it's going to specific startups. But what this does is all these startups are spending money to educate people on what vibe coding is, why it's important, and what you can do with it. And so that is really important because it's educating your target market for free. It's like raising awareness, and people are like, what is vibe coding? What is this thing? It sounds really, really exciting. And also just a gap in like, this is supposed to be a brain, but general resources out there for vibe coding honestly are usually very surface level. The reason for that is because actual developers look down on this term vibe coding. Like, this is the most annoying term right now in 2026 to someone who is a really good developer and really technical. Okay, so you don't have really technical people creating vibe coding content, vibe coding education, or vibe coding communities. That's okay. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, it's just the current state of vibe coding in 2026. Okay, so we have a ton of money going into it. We have honestly not that much competition, especially if you're technical and you look at what the technical education is out there in vibe coding. And then you have crazy market timing. Market timing, like everyone cares about AI. Everyone is trying to build a second income stream because like companies can, screw you over at any time and not care. And everyone's like asking, what is this vibe coding thing? What can I do with it? People are paying for tokens like they're in Vegas, like they're just paying for tokens and tokens. And so just from a market timing point of view, I think it is a unique early moment in vibe coding where there's just not that much competition, to be honest. If you were to focus on a vibe coding offer, specifically, we're going to be talking about a community offer. So when I talk about community, there's really two components. There's the education. So you can call this courses, but it's usually baked into your community. It's not a separate thing people are paying for. And then the second thing is like the community itself. So like peers, right? You could have events, you can have a weekly Q&A, you can have office hours, like all these different things. So people and then the actual education. So those are the two components of a community that makes people want to stay, right? Because you're continually adding new courses. And then as new people are joining and as existing people are having success, that makes your community more valuable, okay? Because like people just want to be surrounded by other winners. Like that is the only reason I would join any community ever. I'm not actually in paid communities, but that would be a reason to join a community. Okay, cool. So let's go back and fill out this business model canvas. So what is the problem here? Well, the problem is that non-technical people are trying to learn vibe coding, but it's really hard. Really hard. Okay. Because if you think about the promise of vibe coding, the promise of vibe coding is that like anyone without any technical background can just build $1 million app. Okay, obviously reality, or maybe this is not obvious based on the marketing, but like reality is still quite far from that. It's not like you're just gonna pick up vibe coding, like launch an app over the weekend and make $1 million. Like that's, if that does happen, I mean, that is incredibly rare, and it's usually a bunch of marketing or somebody's pre-existing community or audience that is driving a lot of that initial revenue. But what is happening is you have a lot of people who are non-technical, but who have money, right? They're domain experts in the industry or business that they've been in for 10, 20 years. And they're like, wait, I want to build little apps to solve my problem. I want to build little apps as internal tools for my team. I want to build little apps that like, I don't want to pay $20,000 to build it. I just want to build like a small thing. And I want to learn how to do that myself because I'm the domain expert. Like I know exactly what I want because I've been in the industry for 10 to 20 years. So you have a lot of, like literally millions of people are trying to do this right now. And that goes back to all the money flowing into the ecosystem and the money flowing into educating people on like, hey, here's what AI vibe coding is. Here are the kinds of things you could build. So like, let's just do the math first, because I know there's like a lot of skeptical people. Sabrina, where did this $2 million come from? Okay, so if you go to Skool.com, I think almost all of the top communities are AI, right? That's not really a surprise. Lots of money going into AI, lots of people with money interested in investing to learn this stuff and meet other people who know this stuff. Okay, so let's say you charge $100 per month in your Skool community. So to make 1 million, you'd need, around 800 something people paying that to make 1 million per year. Okay, to make 2 million per year, you need, I think it's like 7, yeah. So let's just say like a little under 1,700 people. Okay, so 1,700 people out of the millions of people that are using vibe coding tools. So we literally have millions of people. The fastest growing startups in the world right now are vibe coding startups. Okay, so we're looking for 1,700 people who can pay $100 per month. By the way, if you think this is expensive, you should have seen what developers cost 5 years ago to build your MVP. I mean, this is nothing. Like anyone who's ever tried to build like an MVP, a website, like anything technical, you know that 100 per month is absolutely nothing. Okay, so let's say we're charging 100 per month, and our promise is we're going to teach you vibe coding and save you whatever 10 hours per week, or you can reframe it if you want a pitch more around like vibe coding apps in order to make money. I would personally position it as vibe coding community to make your first dollar, something like that. Okay, but anyway, my point is we're just looking for 1,700 people out of millions and millions of possible people to pay $100 per month to save a bunch of time, pain, and headache of trying to learn all of this stuff themselves. And there is a lot to learn. Like if you've never touched this stuff, never built product, you're like, what's a database? What's security? How do I deploy it? How do I change the domain? How do I add a feature without breaking 3 more things? How do I launch it? Like, how do I make sure people can sign up and their data is like only visible to them? How do I add a paywall like Stripe? How do I get paid? Like, there's, from a technical background, you might take a lot of these things for granted. So honestly, this presentation is for someone who has a technical background and can see what I'm saying here, that there's really not that much competition for this particular offer. But anyway, so 1,700 people, $100 per month, it's $2 million per year. And one of the really cool things about information products, such as communities or courses, is that you typically have really high margin. Like you don't really have much to pay for. Whatever your community platform is, sure, that's nominal. It's probably less than 200 per month. Maybe you have an admin to help you. Maybe you don't. That's up to you. But again, that's nominal. When you're making $2 million per year, you have a lot of like space to hire additional help if you need it. Okay. So anyway, so people are wondering, where did you get $2 million per month, Sabrina? So it's very literally this math. Okay, I just need to find 1,700 people in the universe of millions of people actively investing to learn AI in 2026, because you're all receiving the marketing that like you're gonna fall behind and you need to learn this stuff, right? So 1,700 people, 100 per month, that's 2 million per year. And that's kind of the beauty of a recurring model. So like one-time courses, I think they're fine if you are just like getting started, getting your feet wet, but like, a lot of people tend to gravitate towards a recurring revenue business because it's a bit more predictable. Like honestly, at 2 million per year, is there anything else you would want in life? 99.999% of people, the answer is no. You would be perfectly happy at this level. The reason I bring that up is like, you could argue community offers are hard to scale above like 2, 3, 4 million per year. And by the way, I agree with that sentiment, but if you're like a 1, 2, maybe 3 person tiny team, you own most of this, like who cares at that point whether you're going to scale it up or do something else or launch an additional offer? Like, who cares? Okay, anyway, let's go back to this. So I was just explaining where this $2 million number came from. So again, 1,700 people, $100 per month. And if you look at the AI communities out there, $100 per month is not even considered a high price point if you look at other AI communities that are paid. The solution is basically we're going to create a Skool community focused on vibe coding. And basically all you have to do is release courses every week, help people troubleshoot their issues, and host like a weekly event. Like that's literally what we're going to do. So unique value proposition is going to be continuing education. It's going to be like Q&A, but more technical. So like actual help troubleshooting. This is one of the areas where current offers are not doing very well, especially because they're not necessarily run by technical teams, right? So you really want like someone on your team. It doesn't have to be you. You could hire help, but someone to help troubleshoot the more technical types of Q&A. And then usually you'll do like weekly events or multiple weekly events. For example, in my Skool community, we have like too many events. I think we have like 5 events per week. Just this morning, we had one of my best friends. She's built like multi-million-dollar products. Her current product she's working on is like does like $1 billion in revenue, and she was doing a Q&A on how to build products. But these are basically the 3 things. So education, so make courses, or courses is a loaded term. I just mean like make a tutorial and post it on YouTube and also post it in your community. Q&A, so as people ask questions in your community, like actually be able to help them, okay? And then events. So the events could also be office hours, it could be demos, it could be like, I guess, hackathons, since it's vibe coding related. So now the next 2 boxes is like, what are our unfair advantages and customer segments? Okay, that's a really good question. Let's do the customer segments first. So one way is what I mentioned earlier, like focus on people who are trying to vibe code apps to make money. So like the emphasis here is like, join my community and I'm going to teach you how to vibe code and get your first $1 or get your first 100 customers within X time period, let's say 3 months or 6 months. So this is very like money oriented, outcome oriented. The beauty of this though is like, as you get people who are actually winning and able to like showcase their success as a case study in your community, it becomes really, really cool. Like all of a sudden you have hundreds of members that can say, I joined your community and I went from literally 0 to my first 100 paying customers in 3 to 6 months. Like that's a pretty incredible community that in and of itself, just being surrounded by those people is worth a lot more than $100 per month. So that's one way to angle it. For this type of community though, I would focus a lot more on like, how do you actually get customers? Because you'll find like vibe coding is one set of challenges, and then a whole other set of challenges is around distribution and getting customers to actually pay for your thing. Okay, so that's number 1. Number 2, the other angle is just honestly a bit more technical. Because sometimes people will pay for like these vibe coding courses and stuff, and they're still stuck on the same technical issues. And there really aren't good resources out there today to get help with this. Like there just really aren't. People ask me the same questions again and again and again about like vibe coding, security, database, how do I set up the paywall, how do I deploy this, blah, blah, blah. Like it's actually just the same set of questions again and again. So another angle here is to just have the best technical so that your app actually works and is secure. So security right now gets a lot of like hype, right? And scrutiny. And so you could have that angle, like launch secure, scalable, that's a stretch, but secure, somewhat scalable apps within 60 days or within 30 days, whatever it is. And here I would focus, instead of focusing on, I'm going to help you acquire your first 100 customers for your app, it's going to be more technical. Like we're going to make sure your app is robust, you have everything set up, you can get paid, and your app is secure. So these are just two, and they're different variations of this as well. But these 2 are the ones I would probably think about. And the one you go with also can depend on your background. So if you are deeply technical, you'll probably resonate with number 2. Whereas if you're coming more from a product or product marketing background, then like number 1 makes a bit more sense to focus on. And the thing is, these problems are both valid. Like you do need your app to work in order to get 100 happy customers, right? Like you may be able to acquire 100 customers, but if your app sucks or just doesn't work or it's hacked or it just breaks all the time, then they're all going to churn. So I'm not saying like one is more important than the other. They're just very different focuses. Okay, cool. Okay, so now let's talk about unfair advantages. This one's kind of tough because, like, in theory, anyone can copy at least the education part of your curriculum. But I do think if you build a strong brand in this niche, it's significantly harder for someone who's brand new to copy you. Like, obviously, anyone can just sign up and spin up a community, but then it's like, how do you bring people to that community? So if you build brand first or in conjunction with building your community, then you just have a much more like long-term competitive advantage and unique advantage. Like, if people say vibe coding and they just associate you with being one of the best vibe coding educators on the planet, then that's like a pretty difficult thing for someone who's brand new to copy. The second thing I would focus on, and this is especially true for any community that touches money in some way, like, be really good about documenting your wins, like who actually launched an app and made money from it. Like, celebrate that person or team as a case study and like keep collecting those. So every time a new member like signs up to your community, they're just inundated with success stories, like case studies of other members in the community who've actually gone through the process. They've learned the education, absorbed it, did the things, and were actually able to launch a successful product or website or whatever it is. So those two, I think, are really unique competitive advantages, which is why you'll notice like a lot of the AI communities that are profitable, they actually start with brand. It's usually like the founder of the community who's been posting TikTok videos or YouTube videos, and then they're like, hey, it sucks doing sponsorships and brand deals. I wish I had a recurring stream of income. And then they're like, aha, I have an idea. Let's go do what those other AI influencers are doing. Let's start a paid community. But this is the reason why it works. Like, they have brands, so people already associate like a particular skill with them and their brand, so they can bring people in. And then as you get people following your process, whatever that may be, you document the wins. And honestly, people want to be surrounded by other people who are doing meaningful things, who are winning, because that is something premium that people are willing to pay for. Okay. I don't even know what the rest of this here. Okay, key metrics. Okay, determine the metrics you will track to measure the success of your business. Customer acquisition. I mean, this was very simple for me. I really just look at two things, even with a community. It's like revenue and churn. It's the same for a SaaS product. I don't think it's any different for a community, but I think it was Hormozy who just had a podcast on this, talking about how communities in particular have a particular shape of revenue that looks like this. And so what this means is like it's super fast and easy to ramp up revenue to roughly like the $1 to $3 million range, I think he said. And obviously they have a ton of data because they run Skool, right? So they have all these data points. But then what happens is like growth starts to plateau because people churn. So churn is traditionally just a really hard problem in communities, because you're giving people all of your education and then they can turn around and start their own community. And also because you've trained them, they're like, okay, cool, I learned everything, like I don't need to be here anymore. But there are ways to combat this. So for example, like there are all kinds of mechanisms like increasing the price over time. So like locking in your price and it just never goes down. So your price continually goes up. So someone who joins at like $50 per month is going to see the new price at like $190 per month, and like they don't want to lose their spot, right? So that's one technique in Skool communities. But I honestly think the bigger one long term is just wins, like just being surrounded by people who build stuff, who win, who are really achieving meaningful results and also contributing value to the community. I think this is a really big one for retention. So just make sure you have a really good process for documenting those wins and celebrating those wins as they happen. And obviously do everything you can to help people in your community win. Surprisingly, a lot of communities don't do that. But yeah, so these are the metrics that are most important. Okay, channels. So how would you actually grow this? It's honestly super easy. Okay, if you look at the top AI communities on Skool, they really only grew two ways. We'll just call this short form, so TikTok Reels. Okay, that's option number one. And then option number two, long form YouTube. Many people do both. Like they'll film a long form YouTube, clip it into shorts, spread it everywhere, TikTok and Instagram. Some people start on TikTok and Instagram. They're like, oh wait, I'm getting more traction on YouTube, so I'm gonna do YouTube automation tutorials or vibe coding tutorials or whatever it is. But it's actually super easy. So a lot of people overcomplicate like marketing channels and customer acquisition. It's really, really easy. Just make TikTok videos, make Instagram reels. Yeah, it'll probably take you 3 months just to figure out how to do it well, right? If you're brand new to content creation, brand new to filming a video, but like, that's okay. Like 3 months is not really that long in the scheme of things, right? So, but yeah, don't overcomplicate this. The funnel is actually very simple. So here, this would just be like your Instagram, TikTok, to spread awareness. So these would just be short videos. So for something like vibe coding, there's already lots of examples of viral videos out there. So one format, I think this was from Lovable, but one format was like, I built Netflix in 60 seconds, and it's like a split screen. So I'll try to draw it here. So it's like a split screen. This guy down here is like coding, and then you kind of see the vibe coding app being built in 60 seconds, and you want to know, does it look like Netflix at the end of 60 seconds, right? Very simple video, like really very simple, and they milked it hard. You just make the same video over and over again. Instead of Netflix, you build Amazon. Instead of Amazon, you build Uber. Instead of Uber, you build Instacart, whatever. Like you could just repeat the same viral format. And that's pretty much the game in social media. You're looking for like a viral format that you can repeat again and again until it's no longer effective. The beauty is you don't have to come up with it yourself. You can literally just search Instagram and Reels and look at what other people did and put your own spin on it. But that's pretty much it. So that's Instagram, TikTok. If for more technical types of things, I do think YouTube is really valuable. So whether it's automations, vibe coding, creative types of work, you can make longer form tutorials here, and you'll typically get higher quality customers from these longer form tutorials. And then you just say, hey guys, if you want like all of this basically done for you, like templates, right? So let's say you were building an AI automation, and then you have a library of templates that you can give new members. Like, would somebody rather sit there and like make the automation from scratch, or just join your community for $100 and then grab 100 different templates, right? So that's all the strategy is. You in your Instagram and TikTok and in your YouTube, you say, hey, check out my Skool community. The link is in my bio. And so for vibe coding, I think the variation here for YouTube is you can have pre-built templates for all kinds of different apps. So let's say you're doing a mobile app. This could be a single player mobile app, that's one template, or it could be a multiplayer mobile app, so that's another template. You could do one for a web app, and there's like so many things you could build. You could have like almost like a light CRM template, like a landing page template, a lead magnet template, like a to-do list template, a multiplayer game template. Like there's so many templates, ideas, and like that can also be part of your unique value proposition. Although I would say as the space gets more crowded, what you should expect is like people will join your community, take all your templates, and then resell them elsewhere. Like that's kind of just normal that's just kind of like the cost of doing business with respect to information products like communities and courses. But I do think that can be a really strong unfair advantage right now, because there just aren't that many people who do that. Another unfair advantage, I just thought of this, is like if you had direct access to really talented engineers. So let's say you're like 95% done with your project, and you just want someone to come in and like really make sure like everything looks good, almost like a senior dev, just reviewing your entire vibe coded app. And like, what if you had a small network of those people that your community could tap into for like discounted rates or something like that? So that's another unfair advantage, right? Like there's so many different ways you could play. Like the space is so early, honestly. There's like really not that many communities out there. But yeah, like this one is really interesting because it's not that people don't have money, it's that they don't know who to hire. Like they don't even know what to ask to hire the right person. And then even if you found a good person, you don't even know like what to tell them to do. So like imagine you had a template for this entire process, right? Like make sure your app has this and this, and then for an extra whatever, we'll connect you to a really senior developer who can like help with some of the stuff that you're stuck on, and they're gonna look at a bunch of standard stuff. Bloop, 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 bloop. Okay, so that's another way or another offer to kind of layer on top of the community. Okay, cost structure. So again, the nice thing about info products and communities is that the costs are like near zero. Like some people have costs because they pay for video editors for production for some of like the longer form YouTube and stuff. But when you're starting, you really don't need to do any of that. Like I've grown my entire YouTube channel to this date. I don't know. I think I'm at 115 subscribers, right? With no video editor. TikTok, Instagram, no video editor. So you don't really need these fancy things. Like you might think you need them, but you really don't. Probably your most expensive thing, honestly, is like spending a bunch of money on the vibe coding tools to like test them out, build lots of things, film your tutorials. Like, so that is probably, I would guess, your biggest expense, for like maybe $1,000 per month. But everything on the customer acquisition side is basically like zero. Like I can't actually think of anything I pay for on the customer acquisition side. So don't think that you need like a bunch of money just to start building up your brand and social presence, to start filling up your funnel. And you could definitely run ads and stuff. I'm not an expert on ads or paid acquisition, so like it's just not the channel I would gravitate towards. And most people probably interested in this idea don't have like a ton of spare capital to experiment with ads. But again, just really not my strong suit. Okay, and then the revenue stream: product sales, subscription fee, advertising. So it's basically just a monthly fee. So typically if you're doing a community, you might start at a slightly lower price point for a while just to get people in there. And then as you build a lot more content, get more people in there, you just raise the price basically continually. And eventually you want to hit like 100 per month at least. There are lots of communities that charge way more than this. So I'm just using this as a nice round number. Because again, our goal is just to get to 1,700 people paying 100 per month. And that is 2 million per year, believe it or not. And there are communities that do a lot more than this, like not even related to AI. So who is this idea really for? Like, how do you know this idea is for you? That's a good question. Like, I was originally just thinking about this idea because some woman named Karen said I should charge for my private Skool community for women. And I was like, in an alternate universe, Sabrina, if you built a Skool community, like what would it be and why? And like, what is the gap in the market? And I started this by talking about like the market, just because I observe, a lot of questions people ask me and stuff. And like I said about vibe coding, like there's a ton of money pouring into it, which means these startups are marketing people for you. They're telling people what vibe coding is, why it's important, what you can do with it. And so they're literally like educating your customers for you, tons of money pouring into it. And then there's just not that many communities or support resources for this yet. Like I have so many non-technical folks emailing me saying like, I'm so close with my vibe coded app. If only it could do this, but I don't know how to like get it to do this thing without breaking some other thing. And then just in terms of a timing perspective, like it's still pretty early for vibe coding. I mean, most normal people, if you walk down the street in your town or your neighborhood and you just ask people, hey, like, do you know what vibe coding is? They're going to be like, no. So just from a timing perspective, it's early, but not too early. 5 years ago, this was literally not a term because Andrei Karpathy just thought about it in the shower, apparently, and then it went viral. But yeah, so if I was to form a paid community today, this is a really big gap that I see. And the reality is I don't know how many people are listening, but if like 10 people from this call were inspired to start this idea, okay, there would still be plenty of market for all 10 of you to make 2 million per year. Especially as we get more vibe coding tools and more ways to specialize. So I'll give you an example. There's one vibe coding tool I was actually impressed with, and I was surprised because I had really low expectations. But it's a vibe coding tool specifically tailored to the WordPress ecosystem. Now, WordPress is like not something I want to touch. Actually, most developers don't want to touch WordPress. Yet, it is the most popular website platform in the entire world. It like powers, I don't know, 45% of websites on the planet. And now there's a low code, or not low code, but vibe code platform that specifically builds WordPress websites. And so like you can imagine one of the 10 of you who are going to start this just focus on vibe coding for the WordPress ecosystem. Or maybe you're vibe coding for an e-commerce ecosystem, Shopify, e-commerce sites, whatever. All I'm saying is like there's so many variations. Like we talked about here, whether your focus is going to be product or money, right? Like is the value prop of your community that we're going to help you get users, or is it we're going to help you build something that works? Those are different. And then within each one of these, you could have different focuses, right? So technical could just be the WordPress ecosystem, right? And that's your focus. And there are enough people who do WordPress all day, every day to get you 1,700 people. I think that's what, when you actually plot the numbers, it's really not that crazy. So like, let's say, so I don't know my current audience. So let's say I have like 1.5 million followers right now on social media. And that was in under 2 years, making content 1 day per week. Like imagine if you made content 3 days per week. And by the way, it's free to make content. So like your cost is zero. So for $0, if you make content for 3 days a week, let's say you achieve just a fraction of those results. Let's say you get 100,000 followers, okay, right? So significantly less, more than an order of magnitude less. Again, we're only talking about 1,700 people out of your 100,000. And let's be honest, like I said 2 million per year, but like, wouldn't you be happy at 1 million per year? I mean, like, let's be realistic. So we can just like slash this number in half, right? So just like slash it in half. So let's say a little over 800. We'll just say 800 because it's nice and pretty. So out of 100,000, that's your audience from posting for 3 days a week, you're focused on making contents about vibe coding. You have now an audience of 100,000, okay? And then you just get 800 people out of 100,000 people to pay $100 per month because you're going to save them, like, no joke, probably like 15 hours per week, plus all of the tokens that they would have burnt trying to build the thing but not knowing how, right? Like, you guys know how much you've paid for like vibe coding, extra tokens, and it's still stuck, and you're still paying extra tokens, and it still doesn't work, right? So would it be worth it just to pay $100 per month to skip all of that pain? Like, honestly, for most people, it probably would be worth it, especially if you have templates that are pre-built, you have like clear education people can follow to implement the most common things, authentication, paywall, how to do good design, like all of these things. So yeah, in an alternate universe where I did courses and information products, this would be literally what I would do. Like, so if someone came to me who was similar to me and like wanted to do something like this is like exactly what I would tell them to do. This is exactly what I myself would do, because it's just gonna work. Like I don't know how else to say it. It's a formula and it's gonna work, especially because the market is there. Like there's thousands of people asking me for help with vibe coding stuff. Like obviously I don't do consulting, coaching, or anything like that, but this is just something I've observed. So I don't know if there's 10 of you even watching who could seriously pursue this idea, but the point of this was for me to just break down, like, how do I think about these types of opportunities in AI? Because again, a lot of people also ask me, like, am I too late to AI? Am I too late? And I'm like, dude, no. There's so much pain and confusion and honestly lack of high quality education and support that I don't think you're late at all. I don't see much out there in terms of vibe coding help, especially with these angles, like really focused on helping you actually validate a product concept and get your first, 10, 100 paying customers, or helping you actually build a product that works. So there's just nothing really out there at the moment. Okay.